So this car behind me is my modified Vauxhall Corsa. As a lot of you may know, I bought this car for the channel to make some fun, enjoyable and easy modification videos. And so far, we've done quite a decent amount to this car. Now let's be honest, from the factory, these cars don't look very special at all. But I think with a little bit of money, time and effort, they can actually look pretty good. And I think we're just about getting there. It's actually starting to look really good. Simply putting some lowering springs on a car like this really does change how the car looks. We've also chucked some wheels on, which again changed the car completely. And I think at the minute it's looking good, but there's one thing missing from the rear, which we'll have to do at the end of the video because we've got some more important things to take care of. Now in the last video I mentioned that if we don't look after the cars, they're not going to look after us. So we gave the car a full service, changed the spark plugs, changed the oil, we even changed the oil filter. But unfortunately this car comes with one main issue, and that's that it has got a Vauxhall badge on the front. Vauxhall aren't that bad, but they've not got the best reputation for being the most reliable cars on the road. And I guarantee at some point you've definitely seen a car like this or a newer Vauxhall on the back of a truck or at the side of the road with its hazards on, being waited to be recovered. Now luckily that isn't the case with this car, so I can't even say it's as bad as the Volkswagen Golf I had. But it started to develop a couple of issues. Now one of them issues may seem very, very familiar to the Golf videos that we filmed, and it has something to do with the temperature gauge. Now don't worry, I know for a fact that it isn't the head gasket. I'm just pretty sure that it is a faulty kind of thermostat. The reason I think that is because, we'll see if we can get the car to do it, but even when the car isn't up to temperature, the needle will kind of like jump up and down as if it's just not getting the correct reading. As you can see, it's on 80 now. If I turn the car on, it'll probably just shoot up to 100. The car doesn't overheat, but I can just tell that the thermostat is not enjoying its life. Now having a Vauxhall isn't all that bad because the thermostat is right at the front of the engine, just down here, and that looks really, really easy to change. It looks like it's just 3 bolts. We can take the coolant hose off, take the housing off, replace the thermostat and put it back in. Now the next issue you guys actually pointed out when we did the servicing video, and yeah, you guessed it, it's got worse since. Now no, it hasn't blown up, and no, I don't think the head gasket has gone, but since we actually serviced the car, I've noticed a really strong oil smell inside, and once I've got out the car I can smell it a lot on the outside. Now at first I did brush it off to, well, we've just done a service, maybe it's just me, but then the car started smoking. Yeah, I started to see a lot of smoke coming from this area of the engine, and a lot of you have probably already guessed it and can already see what the issue is. I'm pretty sure we have got a rocker cover gasket leak. It's leaking everywhere. It absolutely stinks of burning oil, and what's happening is the oil is literally seeping out from the rocker cover and it's dripping down onto the heat shield, burning off, and that is why it absolutely reeks of oil. Now, as annoying as little things like this are, luckily they are not the end of the world and they can be done on the driveway with little to no mechanical knowledge. They're issues I can live with. The car has nearly done 81,000 miles and I'm guessing the thermostat's never been changed, and also the rocker cover gasket's probably never been changed either. So I guess it's getting to that time where things are going to start failing and things are going to start needing replacing. So I think that's where we should start, doing the first actual fixes to the Vauxhall Corsa. Now don't worry, I haven't forgot. Yeah, we are wrapping the entire car, and that is going to start very soon, probably in the next video that you see on the Corsa. But before we do that, it's best to just get all these issues out the way before we carry on with the modifications. So let's get on the driveway and let's sort the poor girl out. Now, I'm not even making it up. For some reason, we've now got an engine light on the dash, but that's going to have to wait. We've got to get this thermostat done, and maybe we're going to have to do the rest of it tomorrow because it's already starting to get dark. It's that time of the year. It's about to be September. I don't know what I'm going to do for videos during the winter, but we're going to have to just work with what we've got. Let's get this thermostat done. Now, as annoying as doing a few repairs may be, and I'd much rather be modifying the car, the little issues that this car has got aren't the end of the world. They're just little things, wear and tear as some people may call it, and I can live with that. And luckily for us, the thermostat is right at the front of the engine, held in by 3 bolts. This should only take 5 minutes. Okay, now taking off the 3 screws that were actually really easy to get to. All I used was just a small ratchet, and they've come straight off. Now it reveals the thermostat, and I am going to assume that that is the original one because it definitely looks a little bit worse for wear. Let's get it out, replace it, put the bolts back in, and then we've got to bleed the system. Now, to get the thermostat out of the housing, it was actually a little bit awkward. There's 2 pins on each side, and you've got to kind of push them down and twist them out of the location just to get the actual thermostat out of the housing. But I later realised that I actually had the housing, so I could have just took it all off as one unit. Now, this is the one that we're going to be replacing it with. This is just from your local car parts shop. I did send Georgia to get this, so massive thank you to Georgia. She actually went and got it while I was at work. Absolute lifesaver. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have been able to get this done. But this one actually comes with a whole new housing, a new gasket and a new thermostat. Now, as well as I did play that off, I was not actually expecting it to come with the housing. I just thought it'd be the thermostat on its own, and if I'm honest, I'm pretty sure I don't have the tool to take the coolant hose off, so we may run into another issue. And of course, it can't be straightforward. Now, this is my own mistake. I didn't honestly realise that it came with a whole new housing. I thought it was just literally the thermostat that I took out, but apparently we're changing the whole housing. And the only thing is, since I've moved into my since me and Georgia moved into our own house, I've been trying to get tools as I need them, and I didn't know that I'm going to need a set of grips to take this clamp off. So I'm going to have to go get a set of grips to take this clamp off so we can change the housing. But it's getting dark, and we may just have to drag a light out here, guys, and carry on tomorrow. But I'm going to fly to my dad's, get a big enough tool or grips, and yeah, we'll have to pick it up when I've got the tool. Correct tool acquired. Cheers, Dad. Big shout out to my dad. As always, we can now get the clip off, take the hose off, and get the housing off the hose, ready for the new thermostat housing and thermostat to go back in. Yeah, I'm not sure if you can see how bad that is, but the amount of like corrosion and oh yeah, no wonder the thermostat's not been behaving. That's bad. Let's get the other one in. And now it's just a matter of doing everything in reverse order. Get the clamp back over the hose so we can secure the housing, and just bolt it back in with the 3 bolts that we took off before. A little bit fiddly to get it back in, but that thermostat is all in and good to go. Now, one thing I've noticed on this car, yeah, this is a pretty ghetto setup, but one thing I've noticed is we've not got a radiator cap, so I'm assuming it's going to be the same as when I had my Mark IV Golf, where you simply top up the coolant, let the car idle, and just keep topping it up until it stops bubbling. So let's bleed the system. And while the car's idling, it's just good to keep an eye out on the coolant reservoir and just to check the thermostat housing, just to see if there's any leaks or anything that needs addressing before you go out and test the car. What's up?
Nothing like.
Oh, these. I rubbed them off you actually. And if you guys want some, click the link in the description. My girlfriend Georgia, who's behind the camera, has recently started a pick and mix business, and they're really cheap, helping a small business out. So if you do want a pack of these, like I'm doing now while I'm waiting for this thing to heat up, click the links in the description, it will take you there, and you can go get yourself a pack. Now on to the next job, and unfortunately it's not another modification. This time it's actually a repair. So I was driving it the other day and randomly this happened. Yeah, we've got a check engine light and I'm not actually sure what it could be. But luckily, this video is sponsored by AutoFix. This is the AutoFix D1 light, and it is a powerful diagnostic tool that provides one-stop solutions when paired with the AutoFix cloud-based app on your phone or tablet. You'll never have to wonder what that check engine light means when you have the ability to run full system diagnostics, comprehensive service functions, and dealership grade diagnosis and diagnostic trouble code analysis. This thing is actually able to read and clear codes for all available systems, display live data in text, graph and analog for easy data review. AutoVin technology automatically identifies vehicle make, model and year information in no time, and it supports diagnostics of batteries with its Bluetooth 1 Lite smart battery tester, purchased separately. And it also offers more than 38 maintenance service functions. Right, let's plug it in and let's fix this Corsa. Okay, so it is done scanning and we can clearly see here there's a couple of codes. These ones are not detected. I was messing around with the MAF sensor when I was obviously fitting that Halford's induction kit that we bought, but the two present codes are for an O2 sensor. Now this says bank 1, which is normally the engine bay side. Bank 2 is normally kind of under the car where the exhaust kind of is, but this is saying bank 1. So this is obviously the bank 1 O2 sensor. It plugs into here and it goes into the exhaust manifold. Now the first thing I'm going to do is unplug it and just put a little bit of WD-40 on the connectors, just in case it is just a little bit of a bad connection. Alright, and now that's done, we can plug that back in. Maybe this will work, maybe it won't, but at least the scanner has told us where the problem is. Okay, so on the live data, we can actually see that the O2 sensor bank 1 is now actually active. So if we clear that code, it should technically go away. I'm going to go back, clear all them engine codes, and let's just hope that that little horrible light there goes away. And boom, it has cleared it. Let's give it a little bit and see if it comes back on. Well, I'll be honest, the car's been running for about 10-15 minutes now and there is no light coming up on the dashboard, no engine warning light whatsoever. I have put it through another scan and we're getting a complete pass with no faults whatsoever. So maybe just that little bit of WD-40 has solved it. As you can see, there are no trouble codes detected. Job's a good one. And that is how you fix your car yourself. Guys, if you do want to get one of these AutoFix devices, the links will be in the description. This thing is an absolute lifesaver. And once again, a massive thank you to AutoFix for sponsoring today's video. But unfortunately, after using the car for a few days, I soon started to realise that there was something not quite right since we changed the thermostat. Something is not right. That's not moving at all now. But I don't know if you can hear, the fans are going like mad, as if the car is like overheating or something. So something's not right. And the car's not even up to temperature. The car's freezing cold, so I'm not sure what is going on. I think the best thing we can do at this point in time is just give it a complete coolant change, flush the radiator, and then bleed everything again. So I guess we'll just quickly do that. So I'm not sure if you can see, but all the way down, just down there, there's like a little kind of tap. And that pretty much just lets you drain the radiator. So I'm going to jack the car up, try and get access to that tap, and we're just going to drain all the coolant out of the system because it's not looking the best anyway. It looks very, very brown and dirty. So I think it's just good practice just to do a full coolant change, and hopefully that'll fix the problem. If not, it could well be that the thermostat is faulty, because I have heard of that happening quite often. So I guess we'll just do some digging and find out. This is actually become pretty weird. So I drained all the coolant and then I was just filling the expansion tank up with water just to let it cycle through, make sure all the coolant's out, ready to put more coolant in. It started getting up to temperature, then it just started slowly going back down. I don't know what it's on now, but maybe we actually have a problem with the coolant temperature sensor, so maybe it's worth just getting one of them. I think they're only 20 quid and they're not a hard job to do. They're quite literally right on the front of the engine, just there. So that might be something I could do at a future date, but all I'm going to do is shut off the tap at the bottom, fill it back up with coolant and just see if it makes any difference. But the next job is this bloody horrible oil leak, which is doing my head in. So let's get this rocker cover off. Now, getting the rocker cover off on this car was pretty simple. All I did was just take the coil pack out like we did when we changed the spark plugs, and then there's just a few bolts on top of the rocker cover and a few hoses that you need to pull off, and the whole thing just comes off as one. And oh my god, this thing was bad. No wonder it was seeping oil out. There was dried up oil around where the gasket sits, and even the gasket had started to go brittle and snap off inside the engine. I can't believe how bad it was. I think the only thing I can do is clean the area as much as possible, pick up any bits that may have fallen into the engine and just give it a tidy, ready for the new gasket to sit back on the engine. And just like that, it looks way better. Now onto the actual rocker cover itself. I removed the gasket and did the same thing as clean it as best as I can. So I literally just threw it on the floor and it broke into a million pieces. There's just bits everywhere. It's so brittle, yeah, that no wonder it was leaking. And that part there is actually like warped, so no wonder it wasn't holding any oil. Now what I've noticed as well, which isn't too good, is that horrible like mayo kind of stuff that you get on these cars. That's either condensation or head gasket. Now I know it's not the head gasket because it doesn't smoke and stuff out the back. It's probably because this car literally gets turned on, driven 2 miles up the road and then turned off. So it probably needs a really good run-in. But I'm going to clear this rocker cover out, give it a good clean, and then we'll get the new gasket on and put it all back together. Putting the rocker cover back on was pretty simple. I got it all lined up, got all the bolts in place, and then I tightened them from inside to out. Okay, we are all back together. That should be up and running now. Coils are plugged back in, all the hoses are plugged back in. I guess we're going to just have to start it and hope that it doesn't leak. I'm going to clean it all up down here just so we can keep an eye on it, but it's time to put all the coolant back in, and hopefully this just sorts all the little stupid niggly bits for this car. So far so good. We've not got any rocker cover leaks, so that's a good job, well done. I'm just waiting for this to bleed and hopefully all the air bubbles come out and it does what it's kind of supposed to do. If not, we are going to have to go and get a coolant temperature sensor, but like I say, it's just here, so it's not the end of the world, but we'll see how it goes. I don't think this has worked. I've sat in the car, it's up to temperature and the heaters are still not working. If I literally put the heaters on full blast, it's barely even like warm. The car's up to temperature, as you can see. I don't know why it's not. Since I took that thermostat out, it's just not blowing hot. That's cold now, isn't it? There's no difference from that. Hello. Hello. There's no difference from that to that, really, is there?
No, the hot side just lukewarm.
Yeah, it's just not warm at all when the car's meant to be up to operating temperature. We'll take it for a drive. We'll see what happens. No luck. I took it for a drive just to see if anything had changed. It's nearly up to actually 90 degrees now. It's normally it sits between probably about 85 and it's still blowing cold air. It's just not working. So I can only think that the thermostat is a dud thermostat. Like, it is just one of them thermostats that just is crap. So I guess we should get home, take the thermostat back out, test it and see if that thermostat does work. So yeah, I'm kind of running out of options. I don't get why this happens to me. It always happens to me when I'm doing coolant stuff. I just end up with a dodgy thermostat or something like that, but we'll get home and we'll test our theory. So we're cooking up a thermostat here. I've took the whole thing apart and I want to actually see what it's doing. So we've got the housing and obviously the thermostat inside the housing. I want to see this thermostat actually open, because if it doesn't, then we know that the thermostat is the problem. If it does, then I literally could not tell you. I've even got the old one out here and we're going to give that one a test as well, just to make sure it's doing the exact same thing. So we'll let this cook and we'll just see if that works. I don't know if you can see that, but the thermostat does open, so that thermostat is good. I don't have a clue what is wrong with this car. I don't know. I do not have a clue why the heaters are blowing cold. I just don't know. I'm just going to sort it some other time. It doesn't really matter, it's summer at the minute. When it gets to winter, I'll probably have to sort it out. I did order a spoiler, which is what I did mention at the start of the video. We were going to install it, but I didn't realise it wasn't just a bolt on, bolt off. So where it's going is somewhere that I'm going to need to wrap, which is going to be the next video. I'm going to reveal the colour. We're going to start preparing the car, ready to wrap the full thing. It's going to be fun. I can't wait. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, please like, comment and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.